Hi, I'm Rachel Colant, a Wahl brand ambassador. I'm here with Miss Charlotte, and her dad Kyle works as a senior process innovation engineer here at Wahl. We're gonna do a short haircut all over today. She is a dog who likes to go swimming. She likes to spend a lot of time outside, so they like her short and easy. We're gonna do one length all over the body, a little bit longer on the top of the head, and a clean poodle face. Let's get started. I always use the bravura for my prep work. I find that it's easy to switch between my short and my long lengths that I want to do on the pads or the Sanitary, for example. And we're also going to use the bravura on her clean face today. For the paw pads, I'm going to do a 40 setting. And for her Sanitary and face, I'm going to do a 10 setting. I'm just going to take the paw pads really short and use my blade to skim off of the sides of the foot. And that way, it's gonna save me scissor work, and I'm creating a clean and long-lasting trim. We're just gonna get all this stuff in between the pads. I try my best not to dig in between the toes. I don't want to accidentally nick the skin in here. And I like to leave just a little bit of hair for some protection. We're just going to repeat the process on the front foot, just shaving so that I can get everything that might touch the table or the ground. That way the foot's going to stay cleaner and drier for longer. Next, I'm going to switch to my 10 setting, which is the second setting on the 5-in-1, and I'm going to do the Sanitary. I just want to shave anything that might get dirty when she goes potty outside. I'm also going to get in between the back legs from this angle, just to make sure that the Sanitary is clean from all directions. And then I'm going to finish by going underneath the belly. So before I switch to a different clipper, I'm gonna do everything that I need to do with my bravura, which means we're gonna also set the clean face right now. On a poodle top knot, I want my line for my clean face to go between the top corner of the ear canal and the corner of the eye. So this stuff, we're gonna take off. Before I get started, I always just double check my length. Then I'm just gonna pull towards that corner of the eye and set my line. You can also skim up. And this is just gonna save me time scissoring this transition. And I just wanna make sure that my line is nice and crisp. All the ear canal, all that gunk can get trimmed out. And I'm gonna take this line down to the throat. So I wanna find where her breastbone is and move a little bit up. So from the corner of the ear, I'm just gonna shave in a U shape and set the rest of my clean face in. And as I get to the edge of my line, I'm pivoting my clippers a little bit so that I'm blending as I go. But we're gonna do a super short length on the body, so I'm gonna go back and just get the rest of the muzzle shaved. To get this lip line, I like to stretch the lip, shave all that. We're just gonna shape the whole chin, pulling towards the nose. She's not quite used to all of the positions that I'm using, my handling, but she's doing okay. So I want to shave right up to between the eyes. And some people like to set a little bit of a V shape here. That's totally personal preference, but I just make sure that I scoop and get the eye area cleaned out and focus on the detailed areas, like around the eyes and the lip line. Make sure I don't have any long hairs that are gonna grow back faster. Just go over my clipper work and make sure it's nice and neat. And we'll go ahead and repeat the process on the other side. Next, we're gonna clipper the entire body with a 5 blade on my KMC Plus. And I'm just using my 5 to do a contour trim on her whole body. They don't want any fluff left. It's utilitarian, it's short, easy, very low maintenance. The only fluff is gonna be just a little bit on the top of the head. I'm just following the contour of her body and clipping her all one length. She's nice and athletic, so she can definitely pull off a very short all over trim. And she lives in rural Illinois, so she's, you know, she's outside. She's going on walks, she's running in creeks, playing in the river. This area on the side of the hawk, I will push this skin out to make sure that this gets all cut evenly. And I'm just very careful because these tendons sometimes are easy to slide in between the teeth on the blade. So as we're clipping around this area, just make sure that you have very good blade awareness. I'm gonna pick up her leg to do her hawk, bottom of the foot. And I just want to clip the inside and the outside. We're also going to do the back of the leg and the tail, everything. Just following the contour of her body. While I'm back here, I'm just gonna take the tail down as well. Maintaining awareness of where the tip of her tail is. Just being very careful. There's the tip of the tail. And you can always neaten this up with scissors if you need to. But it's cute. It's not, since I'm using a 5, it's not quite a, skinny shaved rat tail. We are gonna leave a top knot, but she's already pretty short up here on the back of the top knot, so I'm not gonna clip her any higher than that. I wanna leave as much as I can to blend. I do wanna clip her all the way up to the back of the ear. I'm just gonna take that line down to meet my clean face shave line. I'm always aware of where the armpit flap is and where the loose skin on the bottom of the belly is when I'm clipping with a blade underneath here. So I just want to make sure the angle of my blade is not moving directly towards any flaps of skin. I like to roll the skin to the side to get this transition area from the side panel of the dog into the belly, and you can just follow all the way down and across. Start getting a nice clean underline. If I'm using a short length on the body, I'll often go in reverse to just blend my sanitary area short length into my slightly longer but still short length on the body. Now I'm going to move into the front leg. I want to pull this leg forward so I can get this whole outside armpit fold one length. And then for the front panel of the arm. She's leaning forward a lot, so I can go at this with one long stroke. But if she didn't have her leg so far back, I would want to pick up that leg, pull it back like this in the same natural range of motion that she would have when she was walking or running, and clip this whole front panel of the leg in one smooth motion. Then you'll get a nice blended line, minimal scissor work. My approach to clippering on the body is I want to let the clippers do their job. I don't want to give myself a lot of extra work to tidy with shears. I want to move slowly, especially on the legs, let the clipper do their job so that I have a nice blended finish. This might seem like a really simple, easy haircut, but there are so many things that you can do to set yourself up for an easier haircut, such as making sure that the dog is washed really well, fully blow dried, fluffed out before you start with your clippers. Good girl. Good girl. The very last thing I'm gonna do is just quickly fluff up, back brush, and do one final pass with my clipper. This way, really the only thing I'll have to do with my scissors is just round the bottom of the foot. This way, all that's left to do is just scissor around the bottom of the foot. So I just repeated the same thing on the other side, and she's had a 5 blade all over the body and the tail. Because I want this dog to be balanced, even though this is a contour trim just following the natural shape of her body, I'm gonna do a 5 on the ears as well. We're gonna be doing a short top knot, so I can blend with my blade as I clip into this ear. And I'm holding the ear flap flat in my hand, especially around the folding areas. I'm making sure that the ear is very flat so that I don't catch any skin. And in order to get a nice finish on this ear or any area of the dog that you're clippering, you wanna make sure that you've washed it well, it's dried, it's brushed out, and that way you're using the clippers to the best of their ability. I have this little area on the front of the ear that folds, so I'm just gonna stretch it out in my hand, and I'm always clipping towards the outside edge of the ear, never into the ear. And this edge I can either clean up with scissors, or I can use my 5-in-1 or Vetiva as my shear. And I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side. For the top knot, we're gonna do a 30 blade underneath a 0 guard comb, which is 5/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna start in the middle and just pull towards the top of the head. I'm gonna flip the ear up and pull towards the front of the face on both sides. And then we're gonna go in the opposite direction towards the dog's body. And this is just gonna ensure that we have a uniform cut and length, and we won't have to do very much with our shears, just tidy. And make sure that my transition from the short length on the body into the longer top knot is blended. And I'll make sure to tidy that with scissors. Now all that's left to do with shears is the outside edge of my top knot, the outside edge of my ears, and the bottom of the feet. So we're just gonna tidy this with scissors. There's not very much that needs to be done because the finish with our clippers looks great. We just wanna make sure our transition areas are nice and blended. And I'm just taking some curved shears and touching up what we did with the clipper. I've also used my fine comb to fluff up the hair. And then we're gonna focus on our line from the top of the ear to the corner of the eye. I'm gonna hold my shears at a 45-degree angle and just cut that line in so that we have a bevel going into the top knot. We want to cut this in at an angle so that we're getting a round shape, and as the hair grows in, we still maintain the shape of our top knot and it doesn't get super floppy. Her visor is already a little bit shorter, so we're just gonna try to blend this back a little bit. I think Dad trimmed it at home. And we're just gonna keep working on it. Making sure we're happy with our finish. Using the shape of our curved shears to make that round shape on the top of the head. There's a little bit of a flatter spot right here, so we're just gonna take the hair shorter to balance it. We're just gonna keep working on it until we're happy. The nice thing about this haircut is that we're able to do most of it with our clippers before we need to take our shears out. And that means this is gonna be a style that's quick and easy for the salon. And once I'm happy with my shape on my right side, I'm gonna switch to my left. So now we have a super short top knot, but as it grows in, she's still gonna look like a poodle. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Next, I'm gonna just scissor the edge of the ear and take my shears and trim all the way to the leather. This is also something, if you're comfortable, you can use a 5-in-1 or a Vativa to just edge the outside of the ear. I'm just gonna use scissors. So I'm finding the edge of the ear, cutting towards the tip of the ear. Then we have a nice sharp line. Holding my fingers where the edge of the ear is, just to be sure. And then we're gonna come around to the front. And just follow the line. Sometimes for this top transition part, I'll just use a thinning shear to give a more natural finish so that it's blended but not harsh. And then you want to check the inside too. There's nothing really long hanging down. I oftentimes like to shave the inside of the ear. Her ears are kind of sensitive. She may have an ear infection, but I didn't want to shave just because she was already shaking her head from just cleaning. I just have a line right here and I want to blend out. Now we have a nice, tidy ear. Gonna repeat it on the other side. So all that's left to scissor on the feet are just these little edges. I've already trimmed the back of the foot really short, and all I'm doing is tidying anything that might touch the ground. I shaved the top of the foot with a 5, so she shouldn't have very much fluff up there. Just wanna make sure I also get the inside. And the reason that I have so little scissor work to do is because I made sure she was very, very clean, dried well, and fluffed. And that way, when I use my clippers on her, they're as effective as they can be, and they're cutting all the hair one length. Oftentimes when we need to do a lot of scissor work after we've clippered a dog, it's because our prep work wasn't where it needs to be. Maybe the dog wasn't comfortable for the blow dryer, or maybe, you know, you didn't rinse it as well as you wish that you did. But if you can prep your dog really, really well, your clippers will do a lot of work for you, and that saves you time and can make you more money. See, there's just a little bit of hair that's still hanging down, and that's all that I want to get. Now she's got a cute round foot, it's short. And that'll last her a while, won't get tangled or matted. Same thing on the front. We're gonna lift this foot, check our pads, just trim anything that might be touching the ground. Making sure that you trim everything that would be touching the ground and get a lot of lift in your round feet it's gonna make your haircuts last longer. If you're trimming the feet and you're not making sure that you're trimming this underneath layer as short as you can, as the foot hair starts to grow back, this hair underneath is gonna grow out and be dragging on the ground before this. So we want to cut underneath as short as we can go and leave only the fluff on top. And we're doing a contour trim, so I'm kind of just following the shape of her foot. I don't want a really round teddy foot. It wouldn't be balanced with the short style. I'm just combing up, but you can also use a slicker brush just to pop that hair up. And I'm just trimming anything that falls outside of the length that I set with my 5 blade. And that's it for Miss Charlotte's haircut. We did a super easy one length all over pet trim, contour clip. We did a 5 all over the body, followed the contours of her body, left a super short top knot with a 0 guard comb, took a 5 blade on the ears, and did a clean face with a 10.